Well, hello again from the home address on the 8th of February 23. It's another 40 minutes past since I last opened the camera and done another few words into this piece of equipment. Probably because I'm not going to load them. I'm just speaking my mind. But perhaps this one I will, I don't know. I've been doing some technical issues, not technical issues, I've been doing some technical stuff on my computer, and it's taken up a bit of time, but I've managed to get one further uploaded this evening. I'm trying my best to get everything completed in a timely manner, and then I'm going to get ready for the mountains. I've completed all, and I've completed everything with up and down as well. That's now a closed chapter completely. I don't even know if I have anything left for her now, to be honest. It's very difficult for somebody like me to say that, but there has to be boundaries drawn at some point. I'm not a doormat. I'm not a piece of dog dirt, and I certainly refuse to get spoken to in such a manner. I'm trying to help somebody and offer kind of support and kindness, but it's obviously badly needed by the looks of things. So my intuition, my hunch was correct. Although I was glad to see her, I'm surprised at just how ill she actually is. Although I'm not surprised, to be perfectly honest, given the circumstances. And it's very sad. It's actually quite heartbreaking, to be honest. But there's nothing more one can do unless somebody is really prepared to help themselves. There's no point in any input. And I feel terrible because there's so much support. And, I would have, quite honestly, if things had worked out just a little bit better last spring, early summer, I think that I'm almost certain she would have been in a far better place at this point in time in her life. Definitely. Simply she rejected the blessing. Although there was a hiccup. I mean, I was responsible for a bit of a hiccup in myself. I understand that, and accept responsibility for that. You know, it's very minor, but these things happen. Even the best of friends and stuff, there's misunderstandings and fallouts and stuff. But I think the whole general consensus of all that's happened and all I've been through and certainly all the video uploads I've made, particularly the ones with humour, have been in essence in an effort to try and assist her with her healing, to try and see things on the bright side and make sense of difficulties. But I think if you said hello to someone and slapped you across the face for nothing, that's in the same context as going down there to see if someone's welfare is good and the health and well-being and mental state and if they're coping, and to get a slap in the face is I didn't get a physical slap in the face, but you understand the metaphoric language I'm using. It was the whole thing was thrown back at me like it was a dirty mop. A dirty mop. I'm not going to dwell on it because at the end of the day, I know myself. I've done everything, and I think really what's happened is in the period that certainly between Malta and my leaving for Egypt was probably the hardest time apart from the initial death experience and all the things that happened in July, relative coming to the bedroom on the 11th of July, and she never asked any questions about that. Something of that enormity, I would have expected someone to be slightly intrigued as to the circumstances and wanting to know a little more, perhaps even turning up at the convent where she used to work in France. You'd think she would be keen to hear a little bit more about the surroundings and stuff, but no. So I feel that the person is rather shallow and so far away from the person I knew, and although I can't say too much, it's the circumstances of life choices and stuff are, basically coming home to roost. And certainly surrounded by snakes and fake friends, done her no good at all. I told her that from the outset. It's obvious she doesn't want to listen. She called it me parenting her. I don't need your parenting. Yes, well, if you'd taken my parenting, you wouldn't be in such a fucking mess. It was awful to see things yesterday. Monday. So I won't be returning. I made a decision that I don't need to involve myself with that any longer. I don't want to. It's very upsetting to see somebody that you know at that level. Very upsetting. And more upsetting is when they don't understand or realise that all you're trying to do is offer support. And a little bit of kindness. Because sometimes that's all they may need, just a little gentle push in the right direction. But the fake friends wouldn't do that. They would rather keep her in a mental prison. So I no longer wish to be involved in any part of it. And having gone through the period from between Malta and going to Egypt, as I said already in some of my uploads, Egypt was a destination for not a jamboree holiday for getting, pissed and dancing around in the discotheque all night. It wasn't for that reason. It was a healing mission. I made full use of the spa. I made full use of the Red Sea and put my feet in the Red Sea as Moses would have done. And I certainly gained from the very spiritual journey that I'd undertaken as well, despite all the delays. The delays all had purpose. And when returning home here, I kind of realised that I'd completed a cycle, and I think that was an earnest that I wanted to see up and down, because I wanted to just conclude that she was all right, but she's not. And if she had willingly accepted my help, a small token of assistance, or at least showed some gratitude, then I would have been much happier. But instead I've had to completely erase my mind of the situation, wash my hands, and completely, exit the whole situation entirely. And that is not my nature, but sometimes you have to step back in life when people are not playing ball. I've always felt I put 100% into the friendship for always, but and it was maybe perhaps a 50-50 for a long time. I'm quite sure. Or at least we put 100% in each, and we used to get on so well, and such a laugh, and read each other's minds, and it was such fun. Glorious times. Not so long ago, not really that long ago. But something's happened en route, and I wish as I said before, if I'd been there in 2020, when we met up and I had put everything aside and just said, here's my details, can I come and see you, next week? Despite the lockdown, can I come down and see you? Oh yes, please. I think I might have been in a better position to help. That everything was so tangled, so rushed. I don't know, it was, I have to accept responsibility in a lot of this as well. And I understand that up and downs, saying hold fire, you're just moving too fast, and I'm scared of this situation. I'm very timid when it comes to love, and I understand. I think I do see the situation as it is, and I understand that each of us have a different approach to love because of our backgrounds. And I'm completely positive, and I've always been this way about this situation, and wanted to explain in much more detail to my dear friend up and down that I understand that she had many abandonment issues in her childhood, and I think they've followed her through into adulthood. I think much of the reason she went to convent in the first place was part of the package, but as up and down says, none of it is your business. None of it is of your concern, so back off. And I understand that you can't go poking your nose into someone else's affairs unless they're willing to open up And every little time up and down does offer a glimpse of this dark area. It's always the wrong time. Only recently she mentioned something and it wasn't the right moment in time for opportunity to further the discussion. We have a great attraction for one another, but unfortunately I can't be spoken to that way. I don't mind someone being upset or fraught now and again, but the levels of abuse have become just too much to bear, particularly when I've been trying to heal my way through this situation also. And I'm very thick-skinned and I'm very strong-willed, but I've come through a very long period of depression, not just with seasonal affective disorder, but with the circumstances and also the fact that there has been so many strange things have occurred that my mind is, let's say, just a little less fragile than it would normally be for these matters. So I want to tread delicately and carefully, but I also want to show that I do care, because I do, genuinely. But if it's thrown back in such a manner, then you just have to accept that the person's not wishing you to be involved in their life. And you have to respect that, as hard as it may be. You have to pull back and you have to say, okay, I understand. And I certainly hope that one day for me, if we do encounter each other by accident in the street, that we don't have a fraught moment, or at least walk each other past, and at least we have the decency to say hello there, even if we keep walking. But I don't know, I don't think we'll ever see each other again. I don't actually think we'll see each other again. Because as much as I think that Up and Down was reaching out to me last spring, she had many years prior to that where she could have done so. During the times that I was always searching in my heart for where she would be, but never knew where she was. Really. And although I could have found out by asking questions, I just didn't think it was the right thing to do. I thought this time round it was up and Down to come to me. And she did, eventually. But this is the place that we now find ourselves, and it's intolerable. And it's so sad for both of us, actually. I'm sure she must feel some element of mystery and regret as to where it all went wrong. Why did she make decisions that she did in June? Why did I not chase her? Did she expect me to chase her? No, I don't know. Probably. I decided that, I was dying. I died on the couch. It's one of these situations where you give someone the space that they require, because you think, well, let me give this person a few days to mull over the situation because they were extremely fraught and upset by a silly, out of place comment on a beautiful day. And as two adults, we could have worked that out within a few minutes, but I decided to leave it and said to her, "I'll give you some space." And during the time of space, I think she's then realised that it was not to be. And it was very regrettable for me because I didn't really think that it was going to be such a long gap before we spoke. And so I died over there. I think it was 17 days I was dead. And when I came back to life, it was a very peculiar place altogether. And the history of my video channel on YouTube has documented that from the end of July, but I think I made many of them private, or most of them I didn't upload in the first place, out of privacy. But I do really think that myself and Up and Down have missed a absolutely golden opportunity. And I don't know if she really wants the situation as she indicates, or if it's just some way of saying I've made so many mistakes since the summer, I can't face telling you about them, and therefore I think it'd be best if I put up this barrier and pushed you away. I've told her that I've forgiven her anyway. It didn't matter to me. Well, it did matter, but of course life is for making mistakes and learning from them. We're both very fond of each other, that is not in question. But whether we can, we certainly can't be a couple now, that's a certainty. But I do hope we can still, in some shape or form, remain friends. I don't know where we stand. Well, sorry. The position where I'm coming from just now is I've washed my hands of it completely. I'm finished with it all. Completely finished with it. No turning back. It's over. Nothing will change my mind now. I said already that I have a huge amount of patience with people, but when I make a decision, I do not change it. And that's not me being stubborn, Up and Down stubborn. Up and Down can be quite immature. Well, she's stubborn. But I've thought about this in a very rational way, and there's been too many negatives and far too many situations which could have been avoided, especially around Christmas time. I'm sure there could have been some form of communication, just to say, have a nice Christmas, I'll see you sometime, that type of thing. It's very normal. but nothing. I had no questions about anything. And I think that the silence backfired on Up and Down. Because, as I said before, I do not like silence. Silence is it's not a good thing. I just like honesty. And as hard as it is sometimes to accept someone's honest opinions, which I feel that Up and Down delivered on the early hours of yesterday morning, I think that I accept it. If that's the way she thinks and feels, then I accept it. At least it's you know, if she's been honest, but I don't think she's been honest. That's just me, but and there's no way of responding to something like that, because it's just the way it's been formatted is impossible to reply to any of it. So it leaves you in a rather precarious position where I'd just rather not respond to any of it at all. Maybe on this camera. But I'm certainly not going to spend any more time with this. It's completely futile, heartbreaking. I'm not going to let myself, worry anymore, because I've done it all. I've come through months and months and months of this. It's been very difficult. So unnecessary as well. Absolutely needless. Never known anything like it. But that's the position now. Is when I look back over the last number of months, as I say, it's given me great insight as to the personality and character of the person I thought I knew, but obviously didn't. So that is a blessing for me, even though I feel she has rejected the blessing that is to come.